Hey, this is a long-term review of my favorite mountain bike wheel. This is Stan's ZTR Race, and it's also the same thing as the ZTR Podium 26er wheels. These are aluminum. They are ultra lightweight and extremely strong and durable. Fantastic. I raced on them for one season, won a whole bunch of races, took the championship. So, race proven, still basically a bulletproof rim. And my favorite tire to accompany this is the Schwalbe Rocket Ron. These are ultra lightweight. They're fairly thin. This is a 1.85, I believe, is the width. So a pretty thin mountain bike tire, 26er. But the combination is super lightweight, and I ran them tubeless. What I want to show in this video is how to mount the tubeless on this particular rim. It can be a little bit tricky because of the design of the rim. So after you've got the rim tape and the stem in place, so check on the tire to see if there's a label for the rotational direction, and make sure that you've got that in the right place. Now we go ahead and start to put it in. The key with this rim is that there's a little kind of an indentation in the middle of the rim, and you've got to line up the tire bead in that dent. Okay, and if you don't put it in the dent, it'll be stretched too tight to actually get the tire on the rim. So the key is to put it in the dent, get the whole thing, get both sides of the tire assembled on the rim, and then use the air compressor to pop it into place. I like to use these little kind of rubber gloves. So I've got the first side, and you can see it's right in the middle of the rim, all the way around. So I checked that. Now we'll pop the other side in. If you don't install it this way, you just kind of install it like you would a regular tire without putting it in the dent, it'll be next to impossible to get it mounted, and it can be quite frustrating. So you can get most of it by hand, easily by hand, and then just gradually tugging on the last bit here until it gets into place. There we go. Now both sides of the tire are in the middle of the rim. So now over near the stem, I'll try to pull the tire out a little bit closer to the edge of the rim on both sides. That will help the tire catch the airflow that gets pumped into the rim. Alright, that's good enough. Let's give it a shot. Use the air compressor to push the tire out. And this tire has a line that's about 2 millimeters away from the edge of the rim. And so I look to see that that line is exposed all the way across the tire. Like you can see right up here, that line kind of disappears. So this portion of the tire is not seated correctly. So add more air using the compressor until that pops out and gets seated. The other side, same thing, not seated. So just continue to add more air to seat out the rest of that. And it should make a popping sound when it gets seated. So got it to pop. Let's check it again. I'm looking at this little edge, the edge that is about 2 millimeters from the rim. So this side's completely seated, the other side completely seated. We're done. Now this tire is tubeless, but it's at this point it's dry. There's no sealant in it. So the next step is to remove the valve core from this stem, add sealant through the core, and I use a little syringe to do that. And then pump it up again, and we're done. So now to add sealant, the easy way is to use this little tool. This came with the stem. If you don't have that, you can use a little pair of pliers. And you want to support the stem so it won't spin around, and then you unscrew the top of the stem. A lot of, usually the tubeless stems will have removable valve core. Sometimes even the stems on an inner tube have removable valve cores. And you could even add sealant in tubes if you wanted to. Alright, after you unscrew the valve just pops out like that. And this is the syringe I use. This I got at drugstore, and this is for like oral medication for children. But the opening in it is just about exactly the right size for the valve stem. So, and this holds 10 cc's. So I'll just put the sealant in a cup and then squirt it in here. Follow the instructions for your tire and your sealant as far as how much to add. For this tire I usually put in 1.5 cups of stand sealant. For this tire right now I'm actually not going to put any sealant in it, and that's because I'm not planning on riding the mountain bike for maybe 2 or 3 months. And sealant does, after some time, it will kind of evaporate inside the tire. So no sense in putting in the sealant in there just to dry up right now. So I'm going to go ahead and add air just to keep it inflated. And then before I go on a ride, I'll put sealant in the tires. But I just wanted to show you how to do this, especially because it's a little tricky mounting tires on this particular rim. But you can't really beat this combination for a lightweight mountain bike wheel. Thanks for watching. See you next video.
I gotta go vegan. I gotta go vegan. Hang on, is this a new Stevie Wonder classic? Go vegan. About to go vegan. Go vegan. Go vegan. About to go vegan. Go vegan. Go vegan. About to go vegan.